Hello, my fellow Americans. Today, we're going to be discussing a little topic known as Formula Drift judging. So, if you follow Formula Drift and you've ever taken a glance at, the comment sections on Instagram, YouTube, or a live stream, you'll see there's a fair bit of complaining. Now, if you're like me and have been following the sport for over a decade, you realize this happens a lot. It's just what seems to happen. Now, I don't know if it's because of social media or if drivers are now getting involved, but it seems like people are portraying the judging of Formula Drift worse than it has been ever before. Now, if you don't know how drifting works, let me give you a quick 30-second breakdown. Competitive drifting is one of the only judged sports in the world. And how it works is two competitors battle against each other. The battle consists of a lead run and a chase run. The lead run is where you're leading the chase driver, and you have to drive the course in the most stylish way possible, as well as adhering to the designated line by the judges. And the chase run is where you have to follow or mimic the lead driver while staying as close as possible. So we got on that? All right, sounds good. So again, I don't know if it's because drivers are getting involved or the internet, but there seems to be some judging calls that the internet have been freaking out about, saying the judging system is broken and they need to redo it after they just redid it this year. And they're saying everything apparently sucks. So today, let's break down some of the controversial battles from this year, and we'll see whether these judges suck or if people just love to complain. I've got 6 battles for you today. The first one being Andy Haley versus Hiroya Manoa in the seeding bracket during Long Beach. So let's stick the good old headphones on and let's take a listen. Let's just watch these two battles. So I'm not gonna watch the battles because you could just watch them on YouTube. Here's the timestamp, but I'm gonna go through them, just pause it when there are some things that we should probably point out.
Everybody struggled with that first initiation point. Manoa, he's right there. Manoa's doing exactly what he needs to do. You can see proximity, just learning the car.
Okay, so as we can see here, there was a bit of a hiccup from Andy. As we can see here, Andy initiates and then he pulls out an angle. He was probably going to go on the wall if he kept it in. And Hiroya was on him. I'd say he was overdriving, like right there, nearly clips him. But let's just watch Hiroya's lead run.
Here we go. Manoa out front. Andy Haley in the chase position. Manoa, let's see how he initiates across the nose of the BMW. Andy Haley, he jumps to the side. Oh, but big correction. Big angle.
Okay.
Oh, Manoa, that got a little funky there. That got really difficult for Andy Haley to actually follow. Yeah. We're going to have to run that back. It seemed that Manoa impeded where Haley could go.
Okay. All Manoa had to do was lay down a pretty safe lead run, and he would have gotten it. Instead, we got that. So, let's break this down. So, he initiates, as you can see, over angles way too much. Guys, he's at 90 degrees of rotation here. There's no way Andy could keep it behind him. I mean, you got to be using your momentum through this course, and he full-on chucks all the angle, slows down completely, pulls it all out, and does pretty much a rolling burnout. In my eyes, how I see this, I feel like Andy should get this. I like both of them. I know both of them. They're both great guys. But in my opinion, from a non-biased point of view, Hiroya choked up Andy's chase. Should be Andy. Let's see what happens. I honestly forgot, so I don't know. All right, let's take a look. See it. Oh.
Haley and Manoa, it looks like Manoa gets the win.
It's okay, It's it was the beginning of the season, things happen. But honestly, yeah, I don't see how. Maybe it's because Andy was shallow in his chase, and maybe that's why. Honestly, don't know. But nope, no explanations. Okay, all fine and dandy. That's all right. Alrighty, so the next run, we move to a very controversial one. I was at this event. I saw it happen before my eyes. I was kind of confused, but AnimLZ versus Matt Field. So this one, if you don't know, had the internet raging. for a particular reason. You're about to see it. Slow entry from Adam there. Not too terrible. Matt pretty much, okay. Over angle, straightens out. Okay. Let's point this out. Opposite drift from field there. You see, has to literally pull out straight and turn the wheels. Jeez. Big angle. Then LZ over Rose straightens out. It's utter chaos here. So if we see this replay, Matt chops too much off that corner, has straightened out, comes in, cuts this corner. If you can see here, it looks, yeah, so if you don't know this situation, just look it up, please. I don't want to take this whole video to go over this one situation, but, you know, what happened was Matt chopped, came in, ran LZ across the bumper, hit him. You can see it. Let's just go back and watch a couple seconds. He clips Adam here. Boom. Right? Messes him up. Straightens out. Right? The judges deemed that as there wasn't enough contact to force Adam into a mistake, and they gave the win to Matt Field. Right? I was up in the air with this one. I'll be honest. Like, when I first saw this and when I was in person, I thought, you know, LZ straightened out for no reason, blah, 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 blah. Like, Matt clearly won, fair and square, Julio, like, let's move on. And I thought everyone was whining on the internet. Then I see Adam's in-car, and I'm like, oh, well, that was a lot worse than I thought it was. So really, I'm really up in the air with this. I'll say Adam should have got the win. But kind of just, you know, sets it all off kind of weird is if we go to later in the event. So this is an hour later against... So this is an hour later, Rome Charpentier against Diego Higa. Both great drivers, both fantastic people. Now let's watch this. Oh, man. First off, super glad Rome was okay there, because that was one of the worst just crashes ever. So, if we gotta rewind, let's take a look-see here, right? Rome comes in, initiates, Diego causes contact. What happens there is Diego rips the wheel out of Rome's hand. And essentially what that did was cause Rome to go off into the kitty litter. And that was violent. Like, that ripped the wheel out of homeboy's hand. Again, Adam, the wheel also ripped out of his hand. Not as violent as this, I'll give him that, but also ripped it out of his hand. And I mean, this was a gnarly crash. They had to bring out the medical car, like Rome hurt his wrist or some part of his arm. Because I mean, you're going in at 90 miles an hour, the wheel rips out of your hand. That's not great, you know? Look at this. Boom. Hits him, wheel rips out of his hand, loses control, goes off into the kitty litter. So, spoiler alert, Rome got the win because Diego caused contact. Now, all of Brazil blew up and was not happy, said Rome flopped. It was bad, right? It was a battleground in the comments here, especially on Instagram. But this goes to show early on in the season, judging was a little questionable. Because we had two runs that basically countered each other. One run where Adam LZ had the wheel ripped out of his hands. Judges said there wasn't enough contact for it to be deemed at fault to Matt. So Matt got the win. And then here, again, the wheel ripped out of Rome's hands. Now, I don't know if the judges were thinking because it was on entry, you're carrying more speed, you can't save it because you're going so fast. Either way, it's the same principle, and it went two differing ways. But, you know, just for reference, I'll show what happened with Rome and Odie later on here at Atlanta. This car sounds pretty nice. Just saying. Boom. Boom. Hits him again, straightens out, goes over there. See what I mean? And then on Rome's Instagram story, he bent like some knuckles and some arms and stuff. Like I said, some inconsistencies in the beginning of the season. And in Atlanta, wasn't too great. Now, when I said some things were countering each other, let's take a look here. Castro versus Forsberg at Seattle, which was this previous round.
Castro locked and loaded in that all-new Toyota GR86, all-new Z, great-looking cars. Now, Castro way overshoots it, overcooks it, burns the meatloaf. Unfortunately, forced an error.
What happened there?
Forsberg doesn't need to complete this run because Castro made that major mistake out front. Drift line.
So, spoiler alert, I'm sure you've seen it, whether it be on, So, spoiler alert, I'm sure you've seen it, whether it be on Instagram or YouTube. Forsberg lost this because of this. Watch here.
How quick it is. Oh, yeah, there was a bump.
There was a bump. You can see the bump clear as day, but was it enough to put Forsberg at fault? In my opinion, yes. If we're being consistent, because after Atlanta, they made it more consistent where, hey, if you get hit and, you're in the lead, you get hit and you may, whatever you want to call it. And, after Atlanta, they made it a lot more consistent where if you do get hit in the lead, no matter how hard the hit is, the chase driver is at fault. And here, Forsberg clearly hits Castro no matter how hard it may be. Let's watch it one more time. It was a small bump, right? But they are going 60 to 65 miles an hour at the end of the bank at Seattle. It could be faster than that. So it does exemplify things on, if they're getting bumped, they're going to feel it more when they're going super fast. However, it's just the inconsistency, right? Some things weren't too great. Especially this. It's unfortunate. But this isn't a video bashing the judges, although it kind of has been, which I'm sorry. I don't hate anyone. I love you all. I thank you all for doing your job. Without the judges, we would not have Formula Drift. So that is to say, I love you. If you are watching this, hello. How's it going? Would love to grab something, drink. I'm not 21. Anyway, that does go to say they have a very difficult job. What they have to do, right? It's just unfortunate some things do happen like this. I wish there was a clear thing in the rule book, maybe that would help with this sort of thing. There's a lot of nuances this year that haven't really come about because a lot of the very clear-cut rules that used to be in the rule book were taken out, and now it's very vague with things, which, is a good thing and a bad thing. But this was only 5 battles so far. You can't count out the hundreds of good battles for the 5 terrible ones. There were multitudes, dozens, hundreds of battles that have been judged that were fair, thought out correctly, and good. And then there's the sour ones, which of course are just going to be expanded upon and, taken to another level because the internet loves negativity. The internet loves negativity. I feel I've been very negative, but I honestly don't hate the judging this year. I just want to get all the bad out the way, get it out, so we can look at some of the good stuff. Or some of the things I disagree on, because I can have an opinion. As you see here, we're going to look at something that was controversial. In this battle, I'm going to let the runs play out more and really dive deep into the replays of the runs.
That roll here. Forsberg initiates into the outside zone. He taps the wall, comes a little out of angle. Now coming in outside zone 2. Matt Field, watch. He's going to apply the pressure. He knows who he's going against. He's going to have a blast out at Grid Life. And I think we're going to see them out there next weekend. But look at this transition now into that last outside zone. Forsberg puts it in.
So let's get right into it. First off, Chris boops the wall, right? Matt has to follow him into the wall after that boop. Okay, just to go back even more, it wasn't perfectly outside in the zone. As you can see, Chris is still 3 feet off the wall, and it's sort of a bell curve effect going into it. If you don't know what a bell curve is, kind of looks like this, It's like he's outside, then he's inside, then he's outside the zone. That's essentially what happens, which is somewhat difficult to follow for Matt. As we could see at the end of the zone, he gets out of it, he has to shortcut it, he has to hit the brakes, and he has to check up on angle. As you can see here, he slows down dramatically That was a very slow transition. We got to admit that, right? And as you can see here, he's not in the zone. Chris is not in the zone. Matt has to follow this, right? He's not in the zone pretty much the whole way. He gets more into it towards the end, but still not completely in the zone. Leaving the zone, comes out, again, is bell curving this zone, which, in all fairness, everyone was doing it at this zone, which is fine. You know, this is the one exception. But, again, could have been more outside. Could have been a less dramatic bell curve, if you get what I'm saying. And Matt, again, is following it. And here, weird things happen. So let's take a deeper look at it. So Forsberg transitions. He's not in the zone. Matt gets close. Forsberg is excelling, not to a great amount, which is okay. You don't have to excel a lot. And then here, he breaks. It seems like he grabs a gear and then goes, which is, again, very weird and awkward to follow, which is probably why Matt was all weird in the chase. Honestly, the live cam shows it the best. And if we see here, handbrakes on throttle. You see the wheels? Watch the wheels, the rear wheels. Handbrakes, gets on throttle, clutches again, gets onto it, right? Kind of awkward. In my opinion, if I was judging this and if I was spotting here, I would say that Chris is at a disadvantage. So now let's watch Matt leading Chris.
He knows Forsberg is behind him, and that's, you know, we'll see. Matt, the beast from the Bay. Here goes out front, that portal exhaust. Corvette initiates into good, smooth angle.
Okay.
First outside zone.
Not terrible.
Fluid and consistent and smooth in that lead position from Matt Field. Now coming to that third.
Very smooth from both drivers there. Very, very, very smooth. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Clean run. Great run. Honestly, it wasn't too bad. So let's take a look at this replay. Let's really dive into Matt's lead run here. So comes in, is already on the outside line of this zone, right? He is completely fulfilling it. No bell curve from the looks of things. Gets out of it, transitions with good speed. Chris is also right there, right? He is on Matt right now. A lot more proximity than Matt, but I'll explain that in a second. Matt leaves the zone a little early, but he was deeper into it and was a lot smoother in it completely. Here, Matt gets right to the outside of the zone. Chris was still a foot off, even in the middle of it. Matt transitions, gets to angle, gets on throttle. A little dab of the e-brake, but very smooth in the acceleration process, leaving that zone. We can watch it from the above cam. Let's see here. Very, very consistent lead from Matt, and great chase from Chris. I mean, that chase run was phenomenal. He was basically a car length back the whole time. Was very close in transitions. Did super, super good. And as you can see, Matt Field got the win. And if you're on social media, you could see that Nate, Chris's spotter, and Chris did not agree with it. Now again, this is my opinion, and for the honesty of the people, to give the people what they want. Let me tell you, I think the judges were completely correct in this call. Reason being is, Chris's lead run compared to Matt's. Matt's had the better lead run. Night and day. It was smoother, got in the zones better, carrying momentum better. Better lead run, right? Chris's wasn't terrible, right? Was a decent lead run. Had some choppiness to it, which led Matt to have a choppy chase. This goes for anyone who's new to drifting, who's trying to understand the judging of drifting. You can't have a good chase run without a good lead run. If the lead driver is being choppy, if the line's not great, whatever it may be, the chase driver can only do so much to accommodate for the lead driver's choppiness, loss of momentum, whatever it may be. And in this case, in my eyes, from a non-biased perspective, Chris was very choppy. He transitioned slow into the second outer zone. There was just a lot of issues with his lead, which led to a messier chase from Matt. Matt's lead was pretty straightforward, pretty solid. Chase's, my God. Chris's chase, very solid, very good, a lot better than Matt's. But the reason why Matt got that is because Matt gave Chris a better lead to chase, right? And Chris gave Matt, frankly, a sloppier lead to chase. And that's a lot harder than having a very clean lead. If you could be very clean in the lead, you're not super fast, very consistent, very smooth, it's going to be super easy to chase. Matt's a fast driver, right? That's what he's got on him. He's smooth, fast lead driver. He was probably fast at St. Louis. I wasn't there, so I don't know. I assume he was a fast driver. Chris was smooth behind him, but again, left some gaps. So just looking at that, I feel like Matt definitely deserved that win. And that goes to show, the judges aren't always wrong. And I feel like, as a ending remark to this probably controversial video, I just want to say that the FD judges have a very tough job. Judging in whatever series, whatever drift series it is, it's very difficult. It's opinionated. It's based off of human. It's going off of a set of rules that could be specific or vague and trying to determine a winner off of said rules. There's no machines. There's no, point system. It's very opinionated, which is very difficult to get right. So if you're watching this and you're a judge in any series, I give respect to you. And no matter what happens, no matter if every judge is changed and the rule book is rewritten, we will still have bad calls. There will still be controversy. That's just how it's going to go. So, as the title of this video says, do the FD judges suck? No, they don't suck. In my opinion, they do not suck, right? They get better every year. They have problems every year, and they get better with it. And they have more problems, etc. That's just how it is. And that's how it's always going to be unless we get machines to do it. Or unless we get the rulebook super, 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 super precise. There's no changing. But, end of story. I don't think FD judges suck. I think they're doing a fantastic job. I think the internet's just a bunch of haters. I'm not paid by the FD judges either. I know none of them. I'm just making this. And with that said, I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you did. Comment down below if you have any issues with this video. I'm sure you will. And that's okay. I'm open to hear your opinion. Because, that's the fun in this, right? To have an opinion. So, again, like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Hope you found this helpful, valuable. Comment down below if you have any questions, have anything. That said, catch you guys in the next video. Take care.